this is something that I want today to be interactive as well too, because I think we're going to be able to find a deal in here somewhere. But this is an exercise that I did when I was selling that I highly encourage you do as well too. So the whole entire point of this particular training is going to be so that you have what is the most important thing right in front of you at all times. And for some additional context here is I had a couple conversations with agents this week that last 2 weeks. One that is very high producer, very busy, and another agent that is newer, but it's starting to get busy, and either personal life stuff comes up, or like life happens, or you just get really, really busy with work. And what both of these agents realized is that they had to be even more careful or diligent about how they used their time. So if anybody in here is like, hey, I'm starting to get busy and I'm doing the things, I'm making phone calls, starting to set appointments, I've been following that 30, 60, 90, right when you get to that 90-day mark of like 90 days straight of consistency of doing what we're supposed to be doing, you're going to realize like, oh shoot, I don't want to be busy, right? I don't want to be busy all day long. I need to be spending my time doing the things that are the most important. Now, what are those things, right? You should have a handful of things that you know move the money. I call them income producing activities. You can call them whatever you want. But income producing activities, I think there's three, right? Let's put them in three different buckets. The first one, 3 C's. Conversations. So you having conversations with people in your database, adding people to your database. So conversations is number one. Number two are your consultations. So this is a buyer strategy session, a listing strategy session, whatever it might be. So having conversations to get new leads or to take existing leads and get them into consults. That's the second C. Third C is contracts and negotiations. So you should be writing contracts, writing counteroffers, getting your agreement signed, negotiating deals, getting your deals that are in escrow, making sure that they don't fall out. But outside of those 3 C's, everything else that we typically end up doing as an agent is time wasted or not spent on the thing that's going to actually drive business. So the reason I like this exercise is this will actually force you to focus on the things that matter most. So let me pull up my screen here. I'm curious, show of hands, either unmute, walk me through this. Show of hands, raise your hand if you actually do this, where you fill out a next 5 deals sheet. This is in the drive. Zara does this. Fantastic. I know you do. This is in the drive. It's called Buyer Next 5 Deals. And we got one person filling this out. Okay, everybody go to the drive, go to school, go to the drive, go to wherever, and just type in next 5 deals. You're going to get this guy to pop up. Now, walking through this, you want to find ideally everybody on this sheet is moving in the next 90 days. This is the caveat. The big caveat I'll give you here is that if you want to do 1 to 2 deals a month, you will need 5 people on this list that are serious at all times. So you want to take your next 5 deals and fill this out. So you're going to put the client name right in here. You're going to, where are we at as far as pre-approval? Like you could circle the one, you can write in whatever. You can say, hey, no, they're not. No, I made an intro. Or yes, they're pre-approved. Who is the lender and how much are they pre-approved for? I would also put on here, like, are they fully underwritten or not versus just a pre-approval. Next category here is a strategy session. Have you asked them? Did they say no, or have you already done one? And then if you've done one, did you ask them to sign an agreement? They wouldn't sign. You sent it, but they haven't signed, or they've signed it. Right? There's no real other options there. And then as far as notes, it's like they're looking for South OC, 3 beds, 2 baths, $1.5 million. Timeline. What I would highly encourage you to write here: timeline and motivation. Right, write down your clarifying, the answers to the clarifying questions, basically. And then whatever it is they're looking for. So that at any given time, you can look over at your sheet. I would have this, for me personally, I would have this on a little whiteboard next to my desk that I'd work, and I would constantly be updating this. Because if you have this filled, like show of hands, who right now could fill out 5 names on here that are all going to be moving in the next 90 days, or at least you think they are? Celeste, Astrid, Amon, love it. Just a few of us. Cool. So if we don't have enough people to fill up on here, that means the leads we do have are just simply not transacting very soon. So there's two different things we can do here. We can take our existing database and pull deals forward, or you need to generate more leads. It's one of the two things. Either you're not pulling the leads forward enough, or you just simply don't have enough people in your database. And this document right here, just simply filling this out, I don't care if you just do this on a napkin. I would have this, though, consistently by your side that you're looking at. This will force you to do also is it'll force you to not strangle the one single lead that you have that's actually close to doing a deal, right? Because like, raise a hand if you're guilty of this, and we all are. You get a lead that you're like, oh, this person's actually looking to make a move soon. I'm going to just put all my focus into this so that I can get this deal closed, and then I will do my lead generation, my prospecting, my whatever. Right? I think we're all guilty of that. Right, Sean, did you want to jump in right there? Or was that just you raising your hand saying, yeah, I'm guilty of that?
Just getting your back, buddy. Yep, I'm totally guilty.
Yeah, we all are, right? It happens. It's really easy to do in this business as well, because you're like, well, shoot, if I'm going to close this deal out, and then, you know what, then I'll get some money in my pocket, and then I'll be able to go do the things. And what ends up happening with that outcome is you will constantly be riding the roller coaster. So I'm going to pull up something else here. Give me 2 seconds to get this guy pulled up. But I do not want you to ride that roller coaster. That is not a fun place to be. So I'm going to pull up this guy here and just walk through this. So we talk about this a lot, but what ends up happening when you strangle that one lead is you had conversations and set appointments, and then you got to the consult and the deal, right? And you're like, I did it. I'm there. I did everything. I did all the hard work, and I got there. I got this one person. I'm ready to go. And what should happen, it was really hard to get to that point, which is why you're like, I can't screw this up, right? And then what should happen is you should just be consistent about doing the things that got you into escrow, or doing the things that got you to sign agreement, writing offers, and so on and so on. Instead, what we do is we say, okay, all of that hard work is what got me here. Now I'm just going to focus on this thing. And that's where this ends up turning into a total roller coaster, where instead of looking like this, it'll actually go ahead and you fall off on conversations. And then you're going to be like, okay, I'm down here now. And then once those conversations fall off, right, we didn't have conversations, then our appointments and conversations fall off. And then if we don't change that, what ends up happening is we work really, really, really hard for the first 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. And then we stop having conversations because we're focused on the one thing. And then the next month, we're like, okay, I'm not quite as busy as I was before, but I'm still doing some consultations. Maybe still going on appointments. And then all of a sudden, everything stops. And if you get back on track, it looks like... Oop, that's not what I wanted. It looks like this. And you are literally starting back over again. Does this sound familiar to anybody?
Yes.
Yeah, and this sucks. Like this valley of despair right here, right? This is not fun. So my encouragement to you is to use this simple thing to make sure that that doesn't happen. Another way you can do this, and I know this is hard, we talk about this all the time, is you time block. What are the activities that you actually need to do to make sure that these things happen, your convos and your appointments? What actually what has to happen in order for you to knock those things out? This making sense? Anybody got questions on this so far? I'm giving you a few different tools that hopefully can get you out of the business feeling like a roller coaster. And this, honestly, this actually goes like this. Let me just go ahead and finish this slide off. Oops. And this, by the way, is a recipe to do 4 deals a year. And if you wonder why, it's because it takes 90 days to get to your first deal. Then you got to start over. 90 days later, do it again. 90 days later, do it again. Not fun. Okay, so there's that. On our business planning worksheet that we went through, you should have gone through this exercise with us. The last page of this is scorecard. So if you pay attention to my what I call $100,000 game plan, the 5 KPIs that I think are the most universal that work for everybody that just simply makes sense is 5 new leads every single week, 20 conversations every single week, 9 appointments, 2 consults, and get 1 signed agreement every week. If you do that, you will probably sell 24 homes from the day you start doing that. You'll probably sell 24 homes, or at least you'll be on pace to do 2 deals a month. And if you're brand new and low skill, which is fine, like there's nothing wrong with being brand new and low skilled, you'll probably just do 12 and make $100,000, which is why I call it the $100,000 game plan. If you just execute on that plan, you will likely make multiple 6 figures. And I know that sounds crazy for some of us on here, but it's just very, very, very true. If you just very simply 5 leads every week, 20 conversations every week, you will do it. Now, last 7 days, I show this at the team meeting every week, but I think this is a fun little opportunity to look at it. This is the last 7 days. So I say 20 conversations a week. Cool. Stephanie's number 1 on the leaderboard, 28 appointments. That's a lot. 14 conversations. So like I say 20 conversations every week. Stephanie's top of the leaderboard. Does anybody remember how many escrows she opened last week?
3.
Yeah, I think she opened 3 casually. 16,000 points in a week, right? She only made 48 phone calls, so it's kind of hard to have 20 conversations with only 48 phone calls. Okay, I don't have a problem putting Stephanie on blast. She's doing great. Martin, we know Martin's great, obviously, as well, too. 8 conversations. He had 21 appointments, so he's really, really busy with appointments, but did not make time for the calls and conversations. We're a little light here, right? Astrid, same thing, 9 conversations. 16 appointments, though. Lots and lots and lots of appointments, right? We can just go down the leaderboard as well, too. Like, not everybody hits the 20 conversations every week. And the reality is not everybody hits their goals. It's just the reality of it. Trevor here, 56 conversations in a week. This is the last 7 days. Right? If we go to last month, let's just see. Trevor, he's I think he got 2 open escrows right now. I think he just opened his 3rd escrow. I don't know if anybody can verify that. I think he just opened his 3rd escrow of this month. Allie's verifying that. Candace is clapping. Yeah, he went on 85 appointments and had 100 conversations last month. That's 20 a week. That might sound like a lot, but 20 a week, that's what that adds up to. Right? So when you say that minimum standard is 20,000 points, it's like that's the minimum. Trevor damn near made showcase in 1 month. Rehab, same thing. This guy's a machine. 86 conversations, that's 20 a week. 60 appointments. Jamie, same thing. Right? Stephanie right there, just opened 3. Zara's been cranking, busy. Dan's opening escrows. Roshni casually had almost an $8 million month. Right? So this stuff's not, I'm not saying this to just show what leads to success. That my point is, I'm showing you several different tools that you can use to make sure that you actually hit your commitments. This one here, nobody raised their hand that they're doing it except for Zara. I cannot emphasize enough the importance of just starting to write this thing out, because you'll learn really quick. If you don't have a very good pipeline, if you don't have very many people that are moving in the next 90 days, you're going to be like, oh shoot, I need more leads. I need to go generate some more leads. I need to claim some team leads. I need to go do open houses. I need to, whatever it is you do for leads, you need to go do more of it. This guy here, this should be your North Star as far as these are the things that I need to do every single week that'll lead me to hitting my goal. If you don't want to be creative here, which you don't need to recreate the wheel, just use the 5 that I say. How many leads, how many appointments, how many conversations, how many consults, how many agreements. And then we have the very, very simple benchmark of just looking at the last month, last week, how many points, but points aren't the point. It's kind of a running joke, but they do lead to success. And instead of this, we want this. We want consistency. And the consistency starts by having your conversations and setting appointments every single week. Alexa, you had your hand up. Was that saying that you're doing your 5 deals, or do you have a question?
No, I was raising it because you were asking who was doing this, getting this done.
That's awesome. Good. So I'm curious if anybody wants to walk through who their next deals are, walk through an example here, or if somebody wants help on their KPIs, right, on this guy here.
I have Azar, and I have a Zillow and an Opcity, or from ISA.
That's exciting. So if I put their name on here, where are they at? Let's see if I can add this.
Pre-approved. They're both one is cash, one is pre-approved. And buyers both have my buyer agreement signed. And we have been showing properties consistently.
That's good.
And then I have one that told me she's gonna move in a year, but she already did a buyer strategy session, but she's looking to sell. And then I have another one who's gonna get pre-qualified with Brad.
Well, let's do this. Let's do one at a time. Who's this first person here? What's their name? Who's the next deal you have?
Azar.
Azar?
Yeah, Azhar.
Close enough. What's the situation with pre-approval? Are we getting pre-approved?
Yeah, he's pre-approved, conventional.
Is he fully underwritten?
No, he's not with one of our lenders. He was already pre-approved with another lender.
Did you get him a second opinion?
Yeah, the thing with that lender is that they don't pay interest. It's like a religious loan. Something like that. I had a conversation with Todd about it.
Sure. Okay, how much is he approved for?
He's pre-approved for $420.
Is that purchase price or loan amount?
Loan amount.
Okay. Strategy session?
Completed.
Signed?
Yes.
Nice. Okay, so this is the fun part here. Why hasn't this person bought a house?
Why hasn't he bought the house? He wants to lowball offers, but then I show him the comps.
Are you writing offers?
Yeah, we've written like 3 offers already. Even though after I shared him the comps, he just keeps wanting that, and I just kind of have to sit down and have a conversation with him.
So what's his motivation?
His motivation, he's tired of renting because he has a family and he wants stability for his kids.
When's his lease up?
His lease is up this month, so he's been on it.
In end of February?
Yeah.
Is he gonna go month to month?
If he doesn't find a home, yeah.
Has he already talked to his landlord and that's gonna happen?
If he's talked to his yeah, no, he hasn't. But I've been working with him for like 6 months, and he's more than on and out. Because before he was pre-approved for 380, and then we were able to get it up to 420.
Okay, so my homework for you on this one, right? So this is my opportunity here. I am asked why this guy's not in escrow. If he got an escrow today, he's not closing escrow prior to his lease expiring.
Yeah.
So we need to chop on this. Like, you need to call the guy immediately after this and be like, hey, I just, like, maybe don't say I just realized, but like, hey, I know your lease is up at the end of the month. What happens if we don't close on a new home by then?
Yeah.
See what he says. He might be like, oh, I already renewed my lease for a year. Or like, oh, I'll just renew for leasing for another year. Like, you want to get on top of that. You want to get ahead of that. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, who's the next person?
I have Miguel.
I do know how to spell that one. Okay. What's the loan situation here?
Cash.
That's always easy. How much?
$90K.
Okay. Yikes. Strategy session?
Yes, completed.
Signed?
Yes.
Why isn't he bought?
He needs to get his pay stubs from the bank in order to be accepted in the park. or from his company.
Why hasn't he done that?
He's on it. He's been on it. He said that he should get it in by Thursday. Yeah, Thursday.
It's yesterday?
No, next week.
Okay. Okay, that should not take very long, but I'll allow it. Let's move on to the next one. Who wins this? So this guy's also buying right now. What's next?
We have Alfredo. No, the other ones now are just kind of like, I'm having conversations with them.
Okay, so you have 2 people that are likely to move in the next 90 days, and then you're unemployed after that.
They need to buy, like, literally, if they find the perfect home, they're gonna buy tomorrow.
This one, Alfredo?
Alfredo and Azar.
What about Miguel? What? Okay, let's do this one. Alfredo. What's the pre-approval situation?
I'm getting him pre-approved right now with Brad.
Okay.
And then he needs to sell his home in Hemet as well.
So we're not pre-approved yet. So intro to Brad.
Completed.
You've done a strategy session?
Not yet.
Nope. Have you asked?
I have, yeah.
He said no?
Yeah, he said not yet. He wants to get qualified first before weighing out his options.
So when did we intro to Brad?
Yesterday. He has a call today at 4 p.m.
Okay, there's your homework for that one right there. So follow up with Brad after the call.
No.
And then get your strategy session set up. There's your homework on that one. Do you have anybody else after that?
Marianelli, but she says she's looking to move in a year.
Yeah, okay.
So that one's going to be a little bit longer.
Yeah, okay.
She's not looking as soon as possible.
What's the timeline on Alfredo? Just so I can finish this out.
He said as soon as he finds the perfect home, he'll move as soon as possible. He'll move out.
Okay, so here's the thank you, Alexa, for going through this exercise. Is this helpful? Cool. So here's the other thing as well too, is anything you're doing right now that's not trying to move these people, like every lead you have in your pipeline database, ask the question, why are they not bought yet? You notice I didn't ask that with Alfredo? The reason I didn't ask that with Alfredo because he's not pre-approved. He said no to the strategy session. Okay? So if you have 2 people on here that are like, we can agree that both of these are like signed up, ready to go, I can pretty much guarantee both of them will not close into a deal. So if you think you're 100% sure somebody's going to close into a transaction with you in the next 90 days, half of those people are not going to. Just assume. Okay? So we got 1 deal here for February, March. And we need to see if Alfredo is going to be a second deal in there, right? Alexa, that's how I want you to think about it. Just because they're on here does not mean you will be amazed at how many names you write down on this list that this person's buying the next 90 days for sure, and then they don't. You will be amazed at how many names you write down like that. So the other thing is, on this one, I'm like, okay, why haven't we done this? When is this happening? And you're like, oh, they're going to talk today at 4 o'clock. Cool. Follow up with Brad after the call at 5 p.m. And this is speed to action. This is just speed to, like, a lot of the times when you finally do all the work, right? We do all this work to get somebody to doing a transaction. And then sometimes at that last little bit, we're like, gosh, I've been working with this guy for so many months. There's the lack of there is a lack of urgency there sometimes where you need to actually, in that very end, it's like, hey, buddy, where am I at? It's like, we're going to be freaking homeless here. What are we doing? Right? Like this one here is like, so right when we hop off this call, Alexa, immediately call Azar and be like, hey, is your plan to be homeless? What's going on here? Right? What happens if your last time let me just make sure I'm understanding our lease here. My understanding is your lease is up at the end of the month. Is that right? And if he says, yeah, it is, I'm like, okay, well, what's our plan? Like, are you going to be able to go month to month? Are you going to, like, are you moving at the end of the month? Like, you need to know that. And you should have known that 90 days ago.
Right.
And I'm saying that not to, like, I'm not trying to beat up on you at all, Alexa. Like, I'm saying this for everybody's sake, is like, we need to do our part as to, like, hey, Azar, do you know that your landlord could kick you out of the house in 16 days and you could be moving into a hotel with all your stuff in storage? Does that, like, so either he doesn't know, which is why it's our job to educate them, or our customers tell us things and then they go home and have conversations that we're not a part of, right? And moving is an enormous. Who's had a friend that's moved or specifically gone from renting to buying? Who has somebody that knows somebody that's gone from renting to buying in the last, I don't know, 3 to 5 years, or within the last 5 years, let's say? It's a huge. They probably talked about it for a year and a half prior to it, right? Like, I know my buddy just bought, and he's been talking about it for the last 3 years. So it's this huge deal for the customer, but that does not mean they understand everything about it. That does not mean they're doing everything they need to be doing. My buddy talked about it for 3 years, and I'm like, dude, you need to do these things. He's like, yeah, I'm going to get to it for 3 years. And then when it finally got down to actually doing the deal, he was 0% prepared. 0. Right? So we need to make sure we're pushing our clients to be like, hey, you have to act. Remember, we talked about this at the meeting. Is like, we have to act as if they are completely unaware of what's going on, completely unaware of the situation, completely unaware of what it looks like to actually buy a home, right? This guy here. You got to assume that all of the people you're talking to are up here, and our job is to walk them down. Hey, problem aware. Hey, what's this guy's name? Azar, you're going to be homeless. And he's like, oh, okay, how do I become, what's my solution? It's like, well, you either rent something else, you renew, or you buy something. Those are your 3 options, or you become homeless. I guess there's your 4th option. Product aware is like you doing the strategy session, walk them through that, obviously. And then fully aware is like, yeah, we're just waiting for the right house, which maybe that's what he's doing. Maybe he's going to go month to month, whatever. Anyway, this guy here, Brad, conversation with Brad, fantastic. You got approved. Let's set up the strategy session. That is the next step. No ifs, ands, or buts. That's the strategy session. Very next step. And then for you, once those things are done, which that can be done by right when we hop off this call, you're going to call Azar. And then at 5 o'clock, you've got a hard conversation with Alfredo to get your strategy session set up. Everything else that you spend your time on needs to be generating new leads that are going to be on this list, or taking leads in your existing database and pulling them forward. Okay, I've got if you're writing notes, or if you're not paying attention, this would be a good one to pay attention to. If you're writing notes, this is something to write down. Is when you guys ask the clarifying questions, we ask our clarifying questions. You're going to, let me just write this out. This might help. My iPad's dead. Otherwise I'd be using that. You're going to ask, what is it you're looking to move? So basically the motivation questions, right? The next one you ask is timeline, okay? How do we ask timeline? Somebody jump in here and help me out.
What did you do so far to make that happen?
Nope.
Perfect girl, what would you like to live your name?
Yeah. Perfect world.
Cool. So in a perfect world, when would you like to be moved into your new home? Now, what are they going to say here? They're going to say 6 months to a year, 80% of the time. So when they give you some vague thing, what do we say next?
What's going to happen until 6 months or to a year?
Yeah. And they're going to say some version of nothing meaningful, right? This is you. This is them. This is you. This is them. Okay, here's the writer downer. So then you get to say, dripping in curiosity, because you don't want to sound like a jerk here. What would happen if you walked into the perfect house tomorrow? Said much better. Let's just say you walked into the perfect house tomorrow. What would you do? This question here will make you a tremendous amount of money because it'll pull your pipeline forward big time. It'll pull your pipeline forward. Oh, that's hard to read. How do I highlight this stuff? Whatever, you get the point. Why is this so hard to read? There we go. So what happens when you ask this question is they say, hey, Aman, what, like, if you walked in let's just say you walked into the perfect house tomorrow, what would you do? And then you shut up. Because they will say words. And you will be amazed at how many times they say some version of, well, gosh, I don't know. I don't know if I'd feel ready, but like I'd probably try to figure it out. Or they'll just be like, oh, I would buy it. And you're treating these people like they're 6 months to a year out, which some of us treat like they're never going to buy ever, and we delete their numbers or we treat them like that. But if they would buy the perfect home now, that means there is nothing stopping them from buying something now. No one's going to find the perfect home. But if you ask this question, you will uncover that those people that are 6 months to a year out that you're kind of ignoring, you can pull them forward as to like, well, shoot, why don't we just go through the process as if you did walk into the perfect house tomorrow? Because if you were like, hey, Christian, yeah, if I find the right house, I'm ready to go. This is what I would do. And then you pitch your strategy session. You pitch whatever the next step is in the relationship. Does that make sense? You guys have a huge amount of business in your database just sitting there waiting for you. Here's another way to look at the same thing. Here's the process to a deal. AKA things that have to happen. Okay? So you need to generate a lead. We can all agree with that. The next thing that needs to happen is you need to have a conversation, right? Then you need to set an appointment. Then you need to get a consult, right? Then you need to get your agreement signed. Then you need to write offers. Then you need to get an accepted offer. Oop. And then you need to close the deal. Somewhere in here, you also have to get approved. Right? Generally, somewhere in this range, you're also going to be getting approved. Cool. So if you think of it like this, if you think of every single lead has to go through this motion, I have to generate a lead, have a conversation with them, set an appointment, do a consult, get an agreement signed, write offers, get the offer accepted, and close the deal, and then you make money. Yay. Right? That's the fun part. So we need to get as many people into this process as possible. Alexa, I'm going back to you. Like, that's after you do your work here, which is going to take a total of 1 hour. The rest of the hours that you work all should be filling up the database. It should be taking the existing database and pulling people forward, right? Take the people who you've had combos with, but let's get to setting appointments, getting people approved that you have set appointments, basically pulling them to the next step. So that every single time you talk to somebody, you should be moving them down this list. So every time you talk to a lead, you should be guiding them to the next step in the process. Because you are the professional, you know what you're doing, and they do not. They very unlikely are to know what they're doing. All right, I'm going to open up for questions. We hit a bunch of different things, but I think I give several different tools that you guys can implement. So what thoughts do we have? What questions? Ask me, Christian, how would I use this thing? And I would encourage you to be selfish here so that you actually get something out of this, as opposed to just having this on in the background while you're doing whatever you're doing. Shauna, you got your hand up. You can go first unless it's an old hand. Aman, what's your question?
I have a client, I signed agreement, buyer strategy is done, everything is done, but he's refusing to speak with a lender. I coached him a lot like that. We have to get approval before we go to houses.
No, you don't.
Set is he wants to see the house before that.
You do not have to get an approval before you tour houses. Where did that come from?
Like he's ready to buy, but he doesn't want to speak with the lender.
Well, sure, but why do you say you have to have a pre-approval before you tour houses?
What if he like a house? Like tomorrow we're going to see a few houses. What if he like one of the houses? We're not ready to submit an offer because we don't have pre-approval.
Yeah, but he could call a lender and talk to him for 30 minutes after they tour the house.
Oh, okay.
What? Are you showing him houses or are you not showing him houses? I'm confused.
We are.
Oh, I thought you said you weren't.
No, we're showing houses.
Okay.
Buyer agreement signed. Everything is done.
Mm-hmm.
But his mindset with like, I'm not gonna talk with the lender now until I find the right house.
Yeah. So somebody that's just keep educating him. Just be like, hey, what's going to happen one day is you're going to walk into do you know who he's planning on talking to when he does?
Sorry.
Do you know which lender he's planning on talking to when he does?
Zillow.
So at least you know it's a lender that's likely going to be able to move relatively quick. If you would have said Bank of America or something like that, that would be more concerning. Now, is this ideal? Right? So like this guy's done all of these things except for this. So is this ideal? No. But this is the next step. So where's my little green box here? Right? Like you've got this line here that you cannot move forward until you've got that. And then every single time you meet this guy, you just keep reiterating the fact that if he walks into a house and absolutely loves it and it's competitive, he's going to miss out on it. And then what's the best case scenario from you waiting? And I would want to understand why. Why don't we want to talk to a lender?
Why, but even I told him if you want to go with your own lender, it's fine. But if I don't want him to feel like I just want him to go with our lender. But I said, no, I'm just waiting until I find a house.
Why?
I'm going to meet him tomorrow, so I'm going to ask him.
You haven't even met this guy yet.
No, I met him maybe 3 times or more. This is the only thing he's saying. The only thing, I didn't see the right house yet.
Okay. Yeah, figure that out at the next when you meet him this tour, and just be like, no, I hear what you're saying, but I don't understand why. Why is that the case?
Okay.
Because he might say something like, oh, I don't want to run my credit. It's like, okay, then do a soft credit pull. Both of our lenders do soft credit pulls. It doesn't affect your credit at all. So if that's the problem, then that's avoidable, right? Assuming that's a potential objection of his. Who knows? It could be anything, but that's what you want to figure out for sure, Aman. Zainab, what's up?
I have a question too, but mine is to lease versus buy. Does this apply for properties? For leases as well?
Does what apply?
You know how we're proposing itemizing our deals. For example, I have a person that I'm speaking to, and that's a leasing property, and I'm helping her with that. She
This here?
is-
If you're talking about this here, I think it's fine to track, sure. Especially if you're new and you're doing leases, I don't think there's anything wrong with this. Obviously, you won't necessarily have strategy session or pre-approved, but ideally, you want to get so many buyers and sellers that you are too busy to do leases. But doing leases in the beginning is really good to really expedite the learning process, and you make money doing it, and you get past clients doing it, which is the most important part.
But I also have a question in regards to her credit score. She was mentioning that from her family, like one of her doesn't have good credit scores. How do we go about these credit scores?
Have they like filled out a credit application yet?
I have a meeting with her this afternoon to go over it. But she did share her credit scores with me, and then I spoke to Matt about it, and he just said we can try to work something out. But I'm just wondering in the future, what do I tell them when it comes to credit scores?
I mean, if they have bad credit, they have bad credit. It is what it is. Can they fix credit? Sure, but like the likelihood of them fixing credit prior to leasing a new property is probably rather low. People with poor credit have to make their application look better in other ways. Just is what it is. They either have, like, if somebody has really, really bad credit, paying more money might entice the landlord to go with them versus somebody that has good credit. Maybe doing a bigger security deposit, something like that, right? There's terms involved in leases, just like there is in a deal. But fixing their credit is very unlikely going to be something that's very unlikely to help. What else? What do we got?
I have a question.
Yeah.
So I did a tour today in Op City, and it's a mobile homes with a land lease. So I'm also doing a buyer session with them. So my question is, I was talking to David, and he says use Eagle Credit Union for them to apply for that. That's an option for them. So then when I do the buyer session, the strategy session, and it says, our lenders pay for the appraisal. So how do I not say that part since it's not?
Well, they're not our lender, so that's the easy way to do it.
I'm sorry.
They're not our lender, so they don't do that. That's easy.
Okay.
I would also check with Matt and Todd to make sure they can't do the loan before you go to a credit union.
Okay, so that's what I was gonna do. Like, okay, let me, I asked David, now I'm talking to you, so I'll definitely ask Todd and Matt. And then the second thing, a takeaway that I've learned is I have 4, buyers that, their main thing is, we need to move in April, and I feel like I've been, like bugging them all the time. And then, so I guess on that one is I definitely need to just have just say, hey, how would you know? I mean, you're going to open houses, because I kind of pulled back to window shopping, but then it's already February. So I want to make sure that, I talk about that part, like, hey, if you find something that, in a perfect world, if you find that house, then what? What are you going to do? Well, I still have until April. They have like, one of them has an excuse, well, I'm not done with my schooling yet, but definitely my lease ends in April,
Mm-hmm.
And then 2 of them, well, my aunt is.
When you say April, like, are they not wanting to do a strategy session? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Why?
When I said, and that's, I'm not sure. That's why I'm like, they're hesitant of doing the strategy sessions.
Okay, so this will be helpful for everybody. So again, we are supposed to be the expert here, meaning we're supposed to know what we're talking about, and they likely don't know what they're talking about because they've either never done this before or they haven't done this in years and years and years, right? Meaning buy a home. So when somebody's like, oh, I've got till April, don't worry about it. And you're like, that is your job to educate that person, is to like, yeah, I know we only have till April. You start building a timeline, you go backwards. All right. It's like, okay, when's your lease up again? Beginning or end of April? Beginning of April. Okay. So that means what's the month before April? So January, February, March, April. Okay. So that means March 1st, we need to be in escrow. So escrow is a 30-day process. This is all stuff we cover in the strategy session, but like escrow is a 30-day process. Celeste, can you mute your mic? It's echoing pretty bad. Escrow is a 30-day process. So we would have to be in escrow on March 1st. So that is 2 weeks away. Okay, so we need to be under contract in 2 weeks. So it's our job to educate that person that like, whoa, hold on. Even if they said end of April and we have to be in escrow by the end of March, it's like, okay, we have now 6 weeks. That is almost zero time. So a lot of these times we'll hear somebody's timeline and they think it makes sense and we feel like, oh, I don't want to be pushy or salesy or whatever, like whatever the reason is. And the reality is like we need to educate them on, hey, I do this with all my clients that are buying within a year. So if you're buying within 90 days, we're like late already, actually. I know you think you have a lot of time, but like let's build the timeline, right? If you want to be at the end of March, you need to be in escrow at the end of April. That means maximum we need to be in escrow no later than 6 weeks from now, right? Does that make sense? Does it sound like a bad idea to set that up? A lot of the times they'll just be like, oh my gosh, I had no idea. And you're like, yeah, that's why we do this. That's what I'm here for. And then you go through the process. And you basically what I'm getting at, Celeste, for you specifically for that example you shared, is reassuring the customer that this is the right way. Like the reason I'm suggesting we do this now is because of everything you've told me. You've shared with me already that you want to move in April or whatever it was. And because of that and your situation, this is the next step, is the strategy session. And then after that, we'll talk to a lender. And then after that, we'll be ready to go. Whether that's tomorrow or in 90 days from now, that doesn't matter so much. But once you get to, right, once we get to this point here, right, once the agreement's signed and we're fully underwritten, these two guys here, then we're ready to go whenever. So the takeaway here, Celeste, for the situations you were just describing, is our job as the professional is to educate and set the expectations. It's like, hey, I do this for all my. If you would have told me you were buying in 11 months from now, within a year, this is what I would suggest to do so that you are ready when you're ready to go. Now, with you being 2 or 3 months away from being ready to go, we're like actually kind of almost at a time crunch here. We still have time, but we really don't have a lot of time to wait to do this. Does that make sense? And they're gonna be like, oh my gosh, I had no idea. I'm like, great, that's why we do this. So let's get it set up. Now again, not everybody's gonna say, oh yeah, that sounds great, let's do it. But that's our job, is to make sure that we're educating them so that they can make the best educated decision for them. Like if a Mon's client, for example, wants to make a terrible decision and not even start the pre-approval process until he finds the property. Here's my word tracking for this, Amon, as well too. This might help. Is, okay, let's play it out. You wait till you find the perfect property, and here's what I would hate to see happen. Is we've been searching for, Amon, how many months have you been searching with this guy for?
Just 3 weeks.
Okay, so not very long. How long has he been searching for?
Around 2 months.
Okay. So here's what I'd hate to see happen is you've been working hard searching for 2 months. We've been working together for about one month, and you walk into a house and you absolutely fall in love with it. And you're like, okay, I want to write an offer. I love this house. This is the one that I want to buy. You go talk to a lender. You start the pre-approval process. They run your credit. They do an application. They ask you for a whole bunch of documents. We get a pre-approval 2 or 3 days later, and then, or a day later, depending on which lender you choose to go with. And then we find out that there's multiple offers on the property and they went with somebody that was fully underwritten and you missed out on your house because you weren't ready. That's what I would hate to see happen. Not to mention, the most important part of this is while you're focusing solely on, now I need to rush to get pre-approved, you should only be thinking about, is this the right house? Instead, you're going to be figuring out, where are my tax returns? Where are my pay stubs? Where's this? Is this the lender that I want to go with? when the only thing you should be thinking about is this the right house for me and my family. So if you want to wait until you actually find the house, we can do that. That's just the reality of what's going to end up happening. Does that make sense? Is that what you really want to do? And if he's like, yeah, that sounds great. You can be like, whatever. I warned you. And then when he falls in love with the first house and he loses it because he's got his head in his ass, you can just be like, hey, now we're ready for the next one. But starting that with like, hey, here's what I would hate to see happen. And then just laying it out. Like, this is how it works. Unfortunately, we have clients that choose to do what you're suggesting and don't listen to us all the time. And often it ends with them missing out on the first house that they really, really liked. Now, they'll end up buying something else down the road most of the time, but I would just hate to see that happen to you because it happens a lot. And if he's like, yeah, that's what I want to do. I want to panic. Once I find the house, I want pure panic. Then you're like, okay, cool, let's do that. Now, if he wasn't doing the strategy session, if he wasn't doing getting the buyer agreement, that'd be a totally different story. But because he has already signed up with you and all that stuff, then whatever. I'm willing to take that trade. Now, the other thing is, when you're not super busy, or when you're not busy at all, when you don't lead generate, you have to tolerate whatever you get. If you ask the highest producing agents in the office, if they meet a lead or a customer that wants to work with them and they don't want to work with the customer, they will just refer it out to somebody else. They will say, hey, you know what? If you want to grind me on commission, not get pre-approved, not do a strategy session, not listen to anything that I say, why don't, you know what? You know who loves that? Aman. Aman on my team would love to help you out. I'll just go ahead and have her take care of you moving forward. She loves people that, you know what I mean? Like, I'm kidding, Aman, obviously. When this thing's full of like every single person on, when you have 10, every 2 sheets of this, every single person's ready to buy right now and they're all at the price point and everything that you want. And then somebody comes in, they're a huge pain in the ass. Guess what? You can be like, hey, I'm sorry. I got plenty of customers that want to work with me. If you want, I'd be more than happy to partner you with somebody else on the team that needs the business worse. That person's business worse. Does that make sense? And that is the best possible position to negotiate from, is not needing the deal. And the only way to get there is to lead generate. Is generate 5 leads every single week. Have conversations with them, set appointments, set consults, do all the things. Anybody have any takeaways they want to share?
Yeah, that's my takeaway as far as like really, educating my clients. And I feel like I have not really pushed that yet. So I definitely am doing that now that, I listen to you. And so therefore, like, just even my friend, asked me a question and I said, well, and I gave her a bit of question. I said, you know what, based on everything you're telling me, we should do a home buyer strategy session. And she's like, okay, sounds good.
Yeah, there you go.
And instead of me fluffing it, I think, like I'm trying to get myself embedded, like really understanding everything that I need to know. But at the end of the day, I still really have to be that person. Like, they're my neighbors, they're my friend. I have to really be honest about their situation. Instead, I'm kind of like tiptoeing, and learning from you is like, hey, it's painful, but we just have to walk it. I just have to if you want to buy a house, you got to do it now to at least get approved. Because if in the perfect world you find a house, what are we going to do? We just look at each other because now we can't make that solid offer because you decided not to get approved yet, or even do a buyer strategy session with me, So I'm getting that. That's my takeaway for myself.
And just remember, they can do those things, and you can do it. It's just more stressful.
Yeah.
Like if you were to ask a logical person, hey, you're spending $500,000 or $1 million or whatever, does it sound like a terrible idea to be prepared for that purchase? Very few people are like, you know what? I want to buy a car. And just walk onto a random dealership with no research and just buy one. Most people do more research buying a car than they do for a house. It's crazy. It's insane. A lot of people treat the home buying process as if they're shopping on Amazon. and it's our job to make sure they're like, hey, hold on a second here. This is how, like, that's why I say, like, when I say for us as agents, just follow the process. Don't recreate the wheel. Say the words the way that we say them. It works. We already know it does. Same thing for the customer. It's like, hey, we don't need to recreate it. We do this every day. We're going to sell more than one home a day this year. Like, we know what we're doing. Just trust. Why don't you trust our process from the customer's perspective as well, too? So, anyway, I hope this was helpful. It's Friday, and it's getting busy. I don't know if you guys saw this. Rates are also ticking down as well, too. So rates are a little bit better today than they were yesterday and last week. So if you don't have a full weekend, there is your next 3 to 5 hours of phone calls, is talking to the people that might need that little tiny kick to be like, hey, just curious, you going out touring properties this weekend? Rates got a little bit better. All the fun things. Jessica, go ahead. Yeah, absolutely. Well, I hope you guys have busy weekends. I'm excited to see how it goes. I'll see you guys on Wednesday. See ya.